All right, we are going to get started. Good morning and welcome to the respondent webinar for East Bay Community Energy's 2020 Renewable Energy and Storage Request for Offers. Speaking, my name is Vanessa Gerber. I work in strategic operations and closely with our power resources team here at East Bay Community Energy. We've got the full team on as well, but you will be hearing mostly my voice as we roll through the presentation today. We're excited to have this solicitation out, and in the next hour we'll be covering the details and process for this RFO. The webinar is scheduled for 1 hour, where we'll be providing a brief introduction to East Bay Community Energy, or EBCE, reviewing key terms and parameters in the RFO protocol, as well as previewing the offer forms in Excel. If you've already taken a look, you'll know that there is a lot to get through there. So hopefully this will be a useful kind of narrative overview for you. And then we'll run through the timeline of the RFO and hopefully reserve the final 10 minutes of the hour for Q&A. We've already received a number of questions by the appropriate deadline, and those will be in the slides. But hopefully we'll be able to have time for some live Q&A from the audience as well. If you do have questions that arise during the webinar, you can use the Q&A function found in your Zoom control panel. Hopefully everyone is relatively familiar with that at this stage. And that should be probably at the bottom of your screen. We will be monitoring those during and answering those at the end if time allows, if not after the session. Do also note that this webinar is being recorded, and the slides and recording will be made available on our RFO webpage as soon as the recording is ready. With that, we will move ahead. Introduction to East Bay Community Energy. EBCE is a community choice energy provider enabled by California state law that passed in 2002. EBC was formed as a Joint Powers Authority, or JPA, in December of 2016 and is governed by a board of directors composed of representatives from our 15 participating cities, as well as the unincorporated areas in Alameda County. 3 new member cities were added in 2019. Those are the cities of Newark, Pleasanton, and Tracy, and we will start serving them in spring of 2021. There's the list of the cities, don't need to read those off, but do want to note that EBCE is the largest CCA in PG&E territory. We have about 560,000 customer accounts, serving a population of about 1.5 million people, and our current annual load is about 6 terawatt hours. These figures do not include those 3 new cities that will come in spring of 21 that I just mentioned. So those numbers will go up even further as we bring on Newark, Pleasanton, and Tracy. Our mission at EBCE is really all about providing Alameda County with cleaner, greener electricity at lower rates. Many of you are probably very familiar with the CCAs, but it is very imperative to EBCE to do that, as well as to reinvest earnings back into the community to create local green energy jobs, local energy programs, and clean power projects.
Hi, Vanessa.
Yeah.
Can you just double check you're sharing the PowerPoint slide? Thank you.
Did we miss all of those slides?
Yes.
Okay, apologies. We're looking probably at the offer form. I led with the exciting stuff. Nothing you've really missed here. Agenda, as I verbally spoke to. Our introduction. Thanks for the catch, Cece. And we're just here on this slide 6. Again, these slides will be available after the webinar. EBC is an independent public agency, again formed as a joint powers authority and governed by our 15 participating members as listed on the previous slide. Our financial standing is independent of our participating members, and revenues are not a part of the county general funds. Offers should assume no form of credit support provided by EBCE. You can find our audited financials for the last 3 years, 2018 through 2020, on our RFO webpage. The URL linked there and under the RFO materials section. And one last thing to note here, relevant for this webinar and this audience, is that EBC has signed long-term agreements on over 650 megawatts of renewable energy and battery storage capacity in California since our formation. Now for the content of the RFO. Overview, a lot of this is, as stated in the protocol, but verbally reiterating it all through this session. We've issued this RFO to procure long-term renewable energy and storage resources, to provide long-term clean energy hedges and resource adequacy, and to contribute to our RPS and IRP obligations under SB 350 and SB 100. Here's a list of the RFO materials, which you'll also find on our RFO webpage, and they will also be referenced in this section. The notice of intent to offer, we will discuss that is imperative and required in order to get a submission folder, and that can be submitted as soon as a respondent is ready to get that Dropbox folder. And the remainder of the attachments, not including the audited financials, those are there for your reference. Those attachments B through E will also go through a matrix of what is required per offer as we go. As for the goals for the RFO, EBCE is seeking transactions that will contribute to our GHG reductions targets and our long-term position hedging. We're targeting multi-hundred megawatts of cumulative capacity out of this solicitation. As you may very well be familiar, we are accepting 6 different products, 6 eligible products, which also will be detailed as we go through the slides. Those are as available product from RPS resources, as available RPS product plus energy storage, indexed energy plus RPS attributes, shaped RPS energy product, standalone storage energy toll, and or a shaped clean energy hedge. Any combination or single product offer is acceptable, as per the experience and capabilities of the respondent. No need to respond for all 6. Whatever is accessible and able to be offered is all okay. So getting into the eligibility for projects, projects can be located within California or outside of California, so long as all energy is deliverable to the CAISO. Projects can also be new or existing resources for the energy and related products. As for capacity, a minimum contract capacity of 10 megawatts and a maximum contract capacity of 150 megawatts. For that RPS plus energy storage product, that product number 2, this max applies to the generating asset, so of that renewable asset, not inclusive of storage capacity. As we get into the standard required offers for that, you'll see that that is, there is a requirement for the storage capacity as well. And this 10 to 150 megawatts is the acceptable capacity range for an offered variation of any product. But you'll also see that there are specific ranges outlined for the products relative to the standard offers. As for delivery date, energy and RPS attribute delivery must be within the calendar years of 2021 through 2024, with a preference for earlier projects. This section provides a bit more nuanced detail as we get into the different products. For generating resources, so this is products 1, 2, 3, and 4, those RPS components. of course, that those projects must be able to demonstrate that the project meets the requirements to be defined as an RPS PCC1 resource. We're only accepting PCC1 resources. As for site control, there are the details that we're requesting within the offer form and the offer supplement, which is the written component. No additional supporting documentation is required in your submission to create a complete offer, but if we do request that, that will be required. As for interconnection, for new resources, they must have a completed phase 1 impact study or later at the time of offer. For any existing resources, existing interconnection is required, and documentation may be requested directly, though is not required to be submitted at the time of the offer. For energy only, you're not required to demonstrate deliverability. And for any projects that include resource adequacy, you must have obtained full capacity deliverability status or partial capacity deliverability status, or be in the process of obtaining that deliverability. And we'll go through a few more details on that in the next slide. So this is all in the protocol. There are 5 kind of condition options that a project could meet to demonstrate deliverability. I'm not going to go through all of these in detail. It's explicitly listed in the protocol. I want to make sure we can get through the offer forms, but do want to just flag that there are these different options, and that the status of the project needs to be explicitly determined in those respective fields on the offer form, as well as written in the offer supplement. Getting into evaluation criteria, kind of these 3 buckets that we will be evaluating projects based off of is counterparty execution risk, about 25% of the weight, looking at development experience of the respondent, experience specifically working with CCAs, as well as term sheet markups. The second category is offer competitiveness. Obviously, this is the strongest of the 3, looking at economic valuation, the project location, and labor and workforce development commitments. And finally, development status risk. And this is 20% of the weight, looking at site control, interconnection, permitting, and environmental project specific risks. We have stated a number of preferences in the protocol relative to location and labor and workforce development. We do prefer projects within our service territory, as we are committed to local development, and as well as projects that employ local and union labor in any location. Now for the real fun and bulk of it. For the purposes of this RFO, given the number of products that we are going to market for, we're referring to an offer as one product from one site. So you may be able to and plan to submit multiple products from the same site, or even multiple sites. Again, an offer, as it's referred to in the protocol and in this presentation, refers to one product from one site. And a complete offer must contain at least the required standard offers that are detailed for the product. And that required information will need to be provided between the offer form fields and the offer supplement. Both of these items will be discussed in a few slides. Again, variations are very much welcomed and should be captured in the same process as the standard offers, that is on the same offer form and the offer supplement, organized within that same site, should you have variations. So we will run through all this as we preview the Excel offer forms, but just to be very, very clear as we can, there are 2 different offer forms available for download on the website. Offer form 1 has all the necessary tabs for submission of any combinations of products 1 through 5 from a single site. And offer form 2 captures the information for product 6, which is that shaped clean energy hedge, should you be submitting an offer for that product. So this slide simply restates the table in section 5A of the protocol, outlining the required pricing formats for each product. These formats are also marked on the offer forms themselves. Attachments C1 and C2 simply reference offer form 1 and offer form 2 respectively. All right, in this slide, we highlight a number of additional parameters that constitute acceptable offers. I will roll through this table in order. Relative to term, I do want to flag that we will be updating the protocol to reflect the change here relative to the minimum term. We will be accepting terms down to 5 years for any product. Previously, it had stated just that was only acceptable for the shaped clean energy hedge. But we have opened it up for all products. You will see a reflection in the protocol in a revised version. And that should, terms down to 5 years for any product should be for, if a respondent finds that term particularly attractive or interesting to submit to EBCE. Similarly with any kind of variation, but 5 to 20 years in addition to the required standard offers, those are acceptable. As for price, for all products other than the indexed energy plus RPS attributes product, prices must be offered at the project P node. You will see in the offer form a drop down for all of the CAISO P nodes, so you can select that there. And you can also note if it's a proxy P node where that's appropriate. We'll preview that in the offer form. We do also encourage that offer variations are submitted with the pricing at a settlement point, either the PG&E DLAP and or CAISO Trading Hub, and that you can indicate in the offer form as well. As for scheduling coordinator, the default SC assumptions are listed here based on the product types. And whether your offer follows this logic or diverges, please make that clear in the appropriate part of the response in your written offer supplement. As for ownership, all projects will be owned by the respondent. EBC is only contracting for products coming out of these projects, not owning the physical projects themselves. And finally, number of offers. Again, we refer to an offer as one product from one facility, and respondents can submit as many facilities and products and variations as they'd like within reason of legitimate and valuable projects, of course. The offer forms provide space for a reasonable number of variations. So relative to our required standard offers, as well as variations, for any product being offered, respondents must comply with the requirements in the protocol, which we will also detail shortly. And an offer for any one product must contain all required standard offers for that product. Some of them only have one required standard offer, but others have 2 or even 3, which is made clear and we will cover. Again, we encourage variations in addition to the standard offers to provide, and we provide space to capture that in the offer forms. So getting into the products, product 1 is our as available RPS product. Eligible resources are new or existing standalone PCC1 eligible generating resources. That can include solar, wind, geothermal, small hydro, biomass, biogas, or ocean energy, thermal, wave, or current. Here we have 2 required standard offers. They are both 15-year terms with your choice of sizing within the range of 10 to 150 megawatts. And they should be the same between the 2 offers. The difference here is in the pricing structure. So you see required standard offer 1 is a fixed price and standard offer 2 is a 2% escalator. We've also identified for each product encouraged variations. So any combination of these components we are particularly interested in, but again, any variations should be included relative to the respondents' abilities and configurations that they deem particularly interesting or valuable for EBCE to consider. Product 2 is RPS plus storage. And relative to the storage eligible resources, that may be any commercially viable technology with 2, 4, or 4+ hour duration capabilities. And EBCE, just want to flag here, EBCE is to receive all project attributes, including resource adequacy, energy arbitrage, and ancillary services coming from that storage component. This product requires 3 standard offers. They're all 15-year terms in all AC connected storage. Again, relative to the RPS capacity, ideally that is consistent across the 3 offers. But you'll see the differences here. Between 1 and 2, the difference is pricing structure. So offer 1 requires a fixed price, and offer 2 requires a 2% annual escalation, with the storage capacity for both required standard offers 1 and 2 being 80% of the RPS capacity at a 2-hour duration. Then moving on to the required standard offer number 3, we're back to a fixed price, but now we're looking for storage capacity of 40% of the RPS capacity at a 4-hour duration. Again, we've highlighted some encouraged variations, which includes difference in term, pricing structure at a hub, different capacity configurations, as well as DC connected storage. For a bit more of a simple slide, product 3 is the indexed energy plus RPS attributes. Eligible resources are indexed RPS energy and associated RECs, again, from PCC1 eligible resources. 1 required standard offer for this product, it's 15 years, it's a fixed price with capacity range of 10 to 150 megawatts. On to product 4, which is the shaped RPS energy product. Again, now 1 required standard offer. PCC1 eligible energy generated by 1 or more RPS eligible resources. This is a 15-year term, fixed price, and the shape is detailed in the RPS weights tab of offer form 1, which we will show. With encouraged variations also relative to shape, for shapes that the respondent believes will provide value in mitigating energy price risk. It's a big interest in this product. For product 5, the standalone energy storage toll, again, eligible resources, the same storage components or characteristics rather as the RPS plus storage. That's commercially viable technology with 2, 4, or 4+ hour duration capabilities. And again, EBCE to receive all those project attributes. 2 things to flag on this. Both of these required standard offers are 10-year terms. And the max capacity for the standard offers is 100 megawatts, but we will note that the variations can go up to that 150 megawatt cap, should that be of interest. The difference between the 2 offers here is in storage parameters. Draw your attention to that. It's 200 cycles per year for standard offer 1 and 365 cycles per year for standard offer 2. These are both 4-hour durations, but encouraged variation interested in other durations, including 2 hours. Finally, on to product 6 is our shaped clean energy hedge. Eligible resources, the energy must be delivered by non-greenhouse gas emitting resources, which can include energy storage, large hydro, or a combination of RPS and non-greenhouse gas emitting resources. We'll flag that nuclear is not eligible for this product or for any of the offers. There's 1 required standard offer. It is a 10-year term as well. And the shape is detailed in this offer form 2. This is the one product that gets offer form 2. And we are expecting, this product to warrant perhaps some more unique submissions. So we do welcome additional dialogue to customize the transaction based off the unit's operating parameters, as well as, of course, EBC's portfolio needs. Please just explicitly detail those assumptions and the shape as best you can in the offer supplement, in addition to, of course, the data entry in offer form 2. Now we'll dive into previewing the offer forms themselves, which I unintentionally already started the session with. But offer form 1 will just flag for extra good measure that this is for products 1 through 5. So if you're submitting any combination of products 1 through 5 from the same facility or site, you'll submit one offer form 1, and fill out the respective tabs on that one file, saving with the naming convention listed on the instructions tab, which I'll show. And then the last flag before we preview the Excel is, by the same token, if you're submitting multiple facility locations, even if they're different products at different locations, each location requires a separate offer form file to be submitted. So let me share offer form 1 here. Great. So starting on the instructions tab, I will note that, and I will highlight when we get to the RPS offer terms tab, there has been an updated version that was uploaded to the website on Friday. Minimal changes, but we will require that this updated version be utilized. So flagging that here. On the instructions, this tab outlines the required tabs to be completed for the different product combinations that you may be offering. You will note that there are 2 tabs that any respondent submitting will need to complete, and those are the first tab, which is respondent info, and the last tab, which is permitting and environmental. And then there are also instruction tabs with more detail for RPS, storage, and shaped RPS, which we'll show in a moment. As we scroll through the instructions here, there's a key for the different types of cells across the offer form, as well as reiterating here that if you're submitting multiple products for the same facility, just follow the instructions to submit the correct tabs. And if you're submitting for multiple facility locations, that will constitute submitting a separate offer form file. As you'll note in rows 57 and 58, the file naming requirements have you add the site name at the end of the file name. Will help us be clear in what is being offered, and also should kind of reaffirm that one offer form for one facility requirement as well. I'm going to roll through the different tabs. There's a lot to cover, but I want to make sure that it is clear and you can hear us describe it. Respondent information is quite straightforward. You will need to copy paste this information across offer forms or the relevant information should you be submitting for more than one facility. Moving into the RPS instructions, this first red tab, this outlines the instructions to navigate and complete the relevant red tabs. And all of those instructions per tab are listed here, and some tabs even have additional instruction or explanation on them. So moving through the red tabs for RPS. The RPS facility information, there are some drop downs and some text entry. A number of these fields do correspond to the other tabs and will auto-populate there for you. So the P node is a great example. Those are all already listed for you to select. and also identify where it's relevant if it's a proxy node. But this P node then goes into other tabs automatically for you. But generally, this tab is just gathering key data points on where the project is, where it is in development, including interconnection and site control, as well as what products are being offered. So again, one tab for this facility, irregardless of how many products are being offered there. Of course, it's just one facility. Into the RPS offer terms. Firstly, flagging again, this is the tab where the change was made, and that was just a formatting or a formula fix on this column E to get the dates correct, and formatting in columns H and I. So minor tweaks. It shouldn't change the math really for you if you've already gotten started on this. But please do go back to the website and download this offer form 1 to make sure that it's all in accordance with our required offer form. Otherwise, you'll see these standard offer locations as well as the definitions up here in orange. Just want to note that for just as available RPS, we only have these 2 required standard offers, 1 and 2. For the RPS plus storage, that's where standard offer 3 becomes required as well. Again, just refer to the protocol for those requirements, but they are listed here. And you'll also see as we scroll to the right, space for optional offers up to 10. So this is where you put those variations in, and note the name of the offer, or the number of the offer rather, as you describe them in the offer supplement. So we can very clearly coordinate the narrative description to the offer data itself. Green, again, green is where you enter data. Everything else will populate like here in column E. Moving into RPS as available generation. This is where you'll enter a generation profile data, both for hourly on the left, as well as monthly on the right. And these orange boxes, as are labeled, but just to be clear, those provide example only. Final red tab is the RPS firm generation. There's just additional explanation and instructions here. This is really reserved for minimally variable energy and capacity resources. And there are the same standard offers should this be more appropriate for the RPS resource being offered. Moving into the storage component, here's a storage instruction. So this first yellow tab provides detail and instructions for navigating and completing the remainder of the relevant yellow tabs, those storage tabs. So pretty straightforward, but very important to read through those and follow along closely. For the storage toll information, this is very similar to the RPS facility information tab, but relevant to storage. So just a few minor differences, but in terms of the location, should it be RPS plus storage, obviously those are going to be an easy copy paste for you. On the storage offer terms, you will see the RPS plus storage up top, this row 8 through 23, and the storage only, storage toll here 25 and below. Please note the offer number naming, which is in this column B. This will be really helpful, again, similar to the RPS, that standard offer and optional offer number, when you're referring to those offer variations in the offer supplement. Make sure that we are very aligned in what's being offered here on the Excel form and what's being described in the offer supplement. Clear instructions on where things get added here. Again, you add to the green. Moving into the RPS plus storage details and the storage toll details, these are two tabs to fill out as appropriate for the product or products being offered. If you're offering both, then you fill them both out. If you're only offering for one, you only need to fill out the required tab. The end of the tabs is in sight. We like to call this choose your own adventure. So do follow the instructions closely, please. But we'll move into the index plus. This is quite straightforward. Don't need to spend time here. Again, those offer numbers are listed for you to reference. And then final instructions tab is for shaped RPS. These are the instructions for the gray tabs. You will see in the shaped RPS weights tab, this is where we've stated our expected shape for the standard offer for shaped RPS product. And the shaped RPS submission, this is where you input data in the green tabs, as well as the RPS source or sources up top here in these green tabs as well. Final tab is permitting and environmental. This is, again, once per facility, and this is where we're capturing more quantitative components relative to project execution status and risks, with the complementary detail being requested in the supplemental offer, or the offer supplement, more narrative component as well. So most of these are drop downs, a few short text entry, but most of these are drop down fields. You'll save that file, name it accordingly with this convention, EBC offer form 1 _ your company name _ the site name, save that and upload to Dropbox. We'll now jump back to the presentation for a moment. Discuss offer form 2, much more quick preview for that offer form, and then we'll continue on. So offer form 2, again, this is to be completed only for product 6, which is the shaped clean energy hedge. And the requested shape is provided as a general guideline, and the submitted shape doesn't need to conform to that requested shape, but to the extent possible, do provide the schedules that follow that. And now we'll show offer form 2, which you probably were staring at while I started talking at the top of the hour. Offer form 2, again, a simple overview instructions tab here. Again, noting these file naming instructions, same thing, except for highlighting that this is offer form number 2 and the site name as is appropriate. There's respondent information, a little bit pared down relative to offer form 1. The requested shape is highlighted here on this tab. And then the final tab is where you input the data. Again, highlighting the source needs to be indicated at the top as well as the delivery. All right, back to the presentation. Discussing the offer supplement, which I have now referenced a number of times, that you will find in attachment D. There are a number of questions. I do want to reiterate that this is also a required component of an offer, and you must submit all the details for the requested information on both the respondent party as well as the project details for all facilities associated with the offers being made by that respondent. So only one offer supplement PDF should be submitted per respondent, regardless of how many projects are being offered. The sections should effectively be developer background. You'll complete this only once, include this as the first section in the offer supplement. and then project details. So say, for example, you are submitting for one site, but multiple different products. That's one project details site, just as that would be one offer form. But you'll need to discuss the different variations as is relevant and appropriate within that section. But if you are to be submitting multiple sites, say 2 different sites, you will have the developer background section, then the project details section completed in order for that project, with all those standard offers and variations detailed there within, followed by another project details section for that next project site. So that's one PDF for each respondent. Required information, built out a matrix here that it says the same thing as the protocol, just a bit easier to fit on one slide. Offers for the different products do have some unique form submittal requirements. So it's outlined in section 6B in the protocol as well as here. So as you'll note, all offers must have a participation agreement. All offers must have a completed offer form. You'll see it. We note offer form 1, which is attachment C1 here for products 1 through 5, and offer form 2, which is attachment C2 for offer or product 6. All offers need an offer supplement to be submitted, but again, that's 1 per respondent. You'll also need red line term sheets for all respective products being offered. And you'll see the reference to the attachment numbers for the different term sheets here. So attachment E1 has the RPS component. E2 is RPS plus storage. E3 is the standalone storage. And E4 is the shaped clean energy hedge. So do follow that accordingly. It should be exceedingly clear once you download those, which corresponds with which. But for all products being offered, the corresponding term sheets must be submitted as well. Interconnection studies are required for products 1, 2, 4, and 5. And those details are listed in section 6B in more detail, but just want to flag the kind of comparison of product to product, as well as a site map. So the same products there. We'll move ahead. This is quite important. Notice of intent to offer, as I mentioned at the top, is required. All respondents who wish to submit offers must complete and submit an NOI via email. Our RFO email, which you should be familiar with now, is 2020-RFO@ebc.org. And you'll receive a unique submission folder link for Dropbox. Upon receiving the NOI, we will respond with that link within 2 business days. Our final deadline to submit an NOI for our December 1 RFO deadline is going to be November the 23rd at no later than 2 p.m. Pacific time. We'll get into the schedule here in a moment, where we do have an early offer deadline of November 17th. And given that 2 business day turnaround, the NOI, therefore, for those projects wishing to submit by that deadline must be submitted by this Friday, November 13th, also at 2 p.m. to make sure that we have time to get you that Dropbox link before the November 17th deadline. Early submission is absolutely welcomed and appreciated. Makes it probably a bit easier for all parties to get that link sorted. And you can find the NOI form and instructions in attachment A. Again, all attachments are downloadable from our RFO webpage, which is just ebc.org/2020-RFO for a nice consistency there. There's the webpage again for communications. All materials, information, announcements, Q&A, the slides and recording to this session will be all available on the RFO webpage. For any questions, they must be submitted via email to our 2020-RFO email. And that deadline for final questions is November 16th. Getting into the timeline and also looking at time, it looks like we should hopefully have time for questions. I'm seeing some that have popped up, so hopefully we will have time for that. The schedule we issued the RFO on the 29th of October. A number of questions did come in for this webinar by the 5th. We're here at the 10th for the respondent webinar, and looking ahead again, this Friday, November 13th, is the deadline to submit NOI for the early offer deadline, should you be pursuing the CAISO affidavit process, which we'll detail momentarily. November 16th is the final deadline to submit all questions relative to the RFO. November 17th by 2 p.m., that is the deadline to submit early offers for those pursuing the CAISO TPD affidavit process. November 19th is the target date by which we will provide a Q&A document to those questions that are in by the 16th. And then the final deadline to submit NOI and receive a Dropbox folder link and therefore be able to participate in this RFO is November the 23rd by 2 p.m. Final offers or final deadline to submit offers is December 1st, after which come January 8th is the target for our notification of shortlisted respondents and offers. January 18th, form PPAs and red lines will be due from shortlisted respondents. Those shortlisted respondents will receive those PPAs upon shortlist notification. And then in February, April of next year, we'll be in negotiations, and those exclusivity agreements and bid deposits will be due. And then in April and May, the target for contract approvals, and those will need to be approved by our board of directors. So a note here on this early offer process, we are aware that there is a December 4th CAISO TPD affidavit deadline. And so as such, EBC will accept relevant offers for an early deadline of November 17th, which is 1 week from today. We will evaluate those offers and consider an expedited shortlisting process by that December 4th deadline for competitive offers. But we will note that submitting a proposal by this early deadline does not guarantee a shortlist decision. And proposals received as part of this early submission process will continue to be evaluated with other proposals. This is really just to provide an opportunity and a channel for competitive offers pursuing this process to perhaps get a shortlisting decision relative to that CAISO deadline, should those offers be competitive relative to our total pool that will come in on the 1st. So we just wanted to provide this platform for those offers and hopefully alleviate a little bit of stress and near miss timeline. So we're going to do our best to accommodate that through this process. As for next steps, again, can't reiterate enough. Notice of intent to offer is the first step in order to participate. That needs to be submitted by email. Again, if you are submitting for the early deadline of the 17th, you need to submit your NOI no later than this Friday, with the final deadline to submit the NOI by the 23rd. You can submit final questions by email through November 16th, and then submit offers by Dropbox. Those early offers are due the 17th, and the final offer deadline is December the 1st. All right, we do have a number of questions. We're right on time, which is very wonderful. Number of questions that came in by that November 5th webinar question deadline. So I'm going to pass it over to my colleague Jim Dorrance to run through those questions. Hopefully we'll still have a few moments at the end to get through any that have come in during the session. So Jim, over to you.
Hello, everybody. So I'm going to answer some of the questions that were previously submitted. Again, everyone's going to have access to the PowerPoint presentation, so I'll just move through these pretty quickly. The first question is, how far away can I wheel power for the RFO? So there's no limitation on the distance as long as the energy is delivered to the Cal ISO, and projects can be sited outside of California. Next one is, what's the max yield price of the expected PPA rate? So there's no price ceiling. This is an open solicitation, and we are just looking at competitive pricing. Third question is, are third parties able to enter into the PPA agreement? So respondents may submit for a project that they do not own, but they do have to be an agent of that party. We are looking at this project to transact for source-specific projects, but again, we'd be open to an arrangement where the bidder didn't have actual ownership of the project. Next slide. Go through. These are a bit longer. In regards to the standalone storage option in the RFO, will EBC accept a non-conforming offer for a 2-hour battery option? Specifically, would we accept a term of less than 10, 15 years? So we're open to respondents submitting offers for variations as long as there's a standing conforming offer that's included in the submission packet. We are open to terms to less than 10 years, and this is different than what's in the protocol itself. So we are opening this up to durations less than 10 years. And the next question is, with respect to the installed megawatt capacity of 10 to 150 megawatts, not including the storage, will we accept offers with a condition precedent that any additional megawatt hours for a larger project be contracted with another party? So we are open to offers for partial offtake that are larger than 150 megawatt hours. But we do need to have that be explicitly clear in the offer sheet that that is where the excess generation is going to go to and it doesn't flow to EBCE. Next slide, please. So the last one, RPS plus energy storage bid. Understand that the storage rate will be based upon an annual storage capacity testing. Does EBC have a preference with respect to storage capacity output, degradation over the life of the PPA, or augmentation to maintain megawatt capacity across the PPA tenor? Good question, and I think this one came through the Q&A during the webinar as well. So EBC's standard conforming offer requires a degrading schedule of the life of PPA. We are open to considering offer variations that include augmentation, but any offers with augmentation must include clear details on when and how the system is augmented and the contractual rights and obligations to the augmentation. So that's it for the submitted questions. I'm going to pause here and turn it back over to Vanessa.
Thanks, Jim, and hopefully those who submitted those questions are on and have received this information. Again, these slides will be posted on the website. So I know that my colleague CC Seikow has been monitoring some audience questions. So I will pause and ask CC if there are questions we want to that have not yet been answered to answer here.
Thank you, Vanessa. Thank you, Jim. So I did see there's a couple of questions that did come in during your presentation. So some I think we answered during the process, but there are a few that just came in. And right now, I just want to say we will probably answer these, via email to send out all the answers in the next couple of days. The top of the ones that I had already answered is when is an NOI due for the November 17 bid? And so that's due Friday, November 13th by 2 p.m. And I think there was a question that came in about RA contract already exists for a storage site. Can a partial tow be offered? So that was answered in our submitted questions earlier, where we would be open to variations on RA only and tolling arrangements. There are other questions that came in regarding the phase 1 interconnection studies. ancillary services, RPS generation profile, environmental criteria. And I think one question we can answer here today is about the 5-year term. And so I think what we talked about here is we're open to looking at 5-year variations on our products. And so those are the ones we can answer today, but for the rest of the questions that came in, we'll definitely provide an answer in the next few days.
Great, thanks so much, Cece. Yes, we will, with those questions that have come in today, we will do our best to get those responses out as soon as we can, just relative to the early offer deadline, should that be imperative for those early offers. So I know that we noted our November 19th target for our Q&A document to go up on the website, but obviously, we do have the early submission deadline that happens before that. So we will take these questions that have come in and do our best to provide responses as soon as we can ahead of that deadline. Thanks very much, Cece and Jim. And with that concludes this presentation. A few moments to spare here. Just want to flag again your attention to the 2020 RFO webpage. You can access it directly via this link or URL rather. You can also access it on our webpage, which is just ebce.org, and under solicitations. It should be the first one on that page. You can navigate to it that way as well. So we will be posting this set of slides and recording to the website as that's available, which could be as soon as this afternoon. And just want to make one final reminder that offer form 1 has been updated since our initial offer or issuance on the 29th. It was updated on Friday. So please do, if you need to re-download that, do that. We apologize for that inconvenience if that has caused that for you, but really look forward to receiving submissions, and any final questions can be received through the 16th of November. So thank you all for tuning in. Again, very much looking forward to receiving offers for this big solicitation, and hope you all have a great rest of your Tuesday, and happy Veterans Day to us all. All right, well, with that, we will go ahead and end it, and look forward to putting the recording up on the website. Thanks very much.